Yum.
And I've been doing that every day
Every day.
since I bought it.
I love ingredient overlap. It's so great. And if
Yeah.
you can handle having the same thing every day, why not?
Welcome to the Sunday Reset. I'm Jen.
And I'm Jill.
And today we are going through one of our favorite money moves, giving you some good meal ideas and talking about how you can pay off debt by being extremely frugal.
So, weekly money move. Every Monday, we share a move that you can make with your money to organize and optimize your finances. If you want to see them all in one place, follow at Weekly Money Move on Instagram. Also, sign up for our friend letter, which is at the link in the description, and you'll get that money move sent to your inbox every Monday for free. But we're also giving you examples of how we implemented the money move this week ourselves.
Yes. Okay. So this week's money move is to do a declutter, which doesn't on the surface sound like a move for money. But like we talk about in our video and on the friend letter, having clutter in our view can impact our mental clutter. And so that leads to a lot of things that impact our spending decisions and our other financial decisions. And so doing a declutter can be a great way, a physical manifestation of what we want to do with our dollars, but the opposite, because we don't want to declutter our dollars. We want to have more. So we get rid of stuff and we bring in more dollars.
I think it also can help us connect with how we have spent money in the past, right? Everything that we are decluttering represents what used to be dollar bills in the past. And so it can also be a practice in recognizing what are the types of things that I am purchasing regularly that now I am tossing, giving away, donating, maybe trying to sell. But it can also get us in touch with our money behaviors and make shifts going forward. So there are multiple layers of why a declutter is a money move.
Yeah.
But so for you, what did you declutter?
I decluttered toys.
Okay.
Yeah.
Classic.
Toys. So I went through, and honestly, like it was so time. I went into Atlas's room and there were just toys. Half the toys were on the floor because they didn't have a space. He doesn't have a lot of storage for toys. Most of that is in Kai's room. But yeah, and there was just toys he wasn't playing with. So it was a logistical, like, it needed to happen. So toys went out and I was actually able to drop some baby toys off with our friends, which I just realized I did that this morning and I did not text them and say it was me who dropped them off. So,
I was like, why are these on my list?
that is exactly
Do you
what's going to
think
happen.
that they want them?
Well, it was just like 3 things and they're like pretty much new. So I think that they will want them.
Okay. How do you handle this with children? Get decluttering essentially their things. I get it, Atlas is 2, but Kai is 6. Like, how do you go about this?
One time I dropped off his toys to the thrift store when he was in the van and he cried the whole way home. A rookie mistake. And so now I have his toys in the back. But he's like, don't get rid of my toys. And I was like, I'm just finding a new place for them. And I will drop them off at the thrift store when he is not in the car.
Do you think that he truly won't remember if they are just out of sight, out of mind? Like he's only aware that they're gone when he sees that you're about to give them away?
He has a mindset of accumulation. More is better. And it's, so yeah, maybe 1 or 2 times it will be like he asks for a toy that I either threw away or got rid of. And it's never a big deal.
You keep track of kind of what he is currently playing with and then throw away the things he hasn't touched. Yeah.
Yeah. If it's like, this is a great thing to do when there's a mess in the house. Before you clean up the mess, before you clean up the toys, everything that hasn't been touched, that's kind of a good indicator of what can go. And it also makes cleaning up easier because sometimes you don't clean up because it's hard to get things back into places. There's not really any storage for them. So that's a good way to do it.
Yeah, nice.
Yeah.
For me, I decluttered clothes. Couple of reasons why this became my area of focus. A friend gave me, she had cleaned out her closet. So she had 2 trash bags full of clothes that she said I could dig through. And whatever I didn't want, give back to her. Her mom has decent success selling these things. I think there's like a consignment store near to her that she's able to take them to. So I picked out maybe 5 to 7 items from these 2 trash bags that I wanted to keep. But a rule of thumb for me is clothes in, clothes out.
Mhm.
So kind of picking clothes that I know could maybe replace some of my other pieces. I also think that I told you on a recent little post show on a podcast, parts of my body are getting bigger. And so like my pants aren't
She's
fitting
been doing
anymore.
those squats. If y'all
So
wondering,
many
I know you can't
squats.
see right now, but she has been squatting.
I don't know, but the pants just like they're not working anymore. So I've needed to also offload things. Why am I going to take up space with clothing that just doesn't fit anymore? And Eric too has been wanting to do a clean out. So one night we just got the inspiration to dig through our closets, get rid of what we don't want. So it ended up being a trash bag full of clothes for both him and myself. And then this was the next step, right? I didn't just do a declutter. There were some decent pieces in there that I'm like, I wonder if I can get money for this. I had them set aside thinking, oh, I'll sell some of it. I'll take pictures. I'll put it up on Poshmark or ThreadUp or something. And I've just realized that I don't know if I've got the energy or time
Yeah.
for that.
I felt the same with the baby stuff that I
Yeah.
gave away. I was like, I could for sure sell this. I do not have time or energy.
Because you know that selling something online is about getting a good photo of it. So setting up the environment, getting the right lighting, to be able to make the clothing look as good as possible, then to post it, to write the whole description, and then to probably ship it out. I just maybe one day, but this time I just wasn't totally feeling it. However, I remembered that places like Plato's Closet, we've got another store around us called Revolve Clothing. I think that they're a little bit of a chain, although smaller than Plato's Closet. They will buy your clothes. Not all of them. They dig through them. They decide what they want, what they don't want. But one afternoon, combined with my grocery trip, I went and saw what they could give me. And so they took 7 items and paid me like $21 and change. The other place gave me a store credit for $7. So I was able to get a pair of shorts that actually fit me. So overall, a bit of a success
Doing
in
it.
not just clearing out the closet, but also getting a little bit of money. And I did document that process a little bit on our Frugal Friends Podcast Instagram account. So feel free to follow us there too.
Awesome. Plato's Closet will make you feel like you have no style.
I know.
Or that you don't know what style
But
is.
then I'm looking through their racks and thinking, this is very similar to the stuff I've given them, although it could be that they have enough of that type of clothing item. They don't need more of that, depending on what season it is. They might not be buying sweaters anymore. So it all just depends. I heard from somebody too if you were to do this, maybe, I don't know if this is unethical, so I'm sorry if I'm saying something that like you shouldn't do, but somebody said that her sister will cut the tags out of her clothing before she donates them so that they don't know what the brand is. And you might be able to get more money for things. Like if it is an Old Navy shirt, but you cut the tag out and now they don't know that it's an Old Navy shirt.
I don't know about that.
I don't know. It's what the sister said.
They're going to just look at the tag. You'd have to also cut the tag on the inside that says 100% polyester.
Right.
You know, like.
Right.
I don't know.
Yeah, okay. Not a good tip.
Yeah,
But I said it anyways. What are you doing?
I thought I had an old 401k around here.
You do know Capitalize can find and roll over old 401ks for you for free?
What's Capitalize?
They are a company that can find old 401ks, 403bs, and roll them over into an IRA of your choosing for free. You tell them where you want your money moved to, or they can give you suggestions if you're unsure based on your financial goals. Then they do all the calls and paperwork so you can rest easy knowing your money is where you want it.
Do I even need to switch it? Seems like it's fine where it is.
You absolutely need to switch it. Your money might be fine now, but your old employer could change plans, switch investments, charge account fees that could all burn through your returns.
You're right. And if Capitalize will do it for me for free, I have no excuse. Now I can get back to...
All right, let's talk about our meal plans that we definitely did cook last week because we are definitely not wearing the same clothes as the last video with just like shirts on top. We would for sure not do that.
We would never do that. We're recording these on Sunday morning and releasing them to you Sunday night.
We would not cut the tags out of shirts to get more money from Plato's Closet. We wouldn't do that.
No, actually, we didn't. I did not do that. So it's all on the up and up. What'd you make this week?
Okay, let's talk about what I made. So HelloFresh has sponsored the podcast, and so they sent us another box of food so that we could accurately endorse them. And I love that. I love that for them.
I love
and
it for us.
And actually, they had, I've only cooked one thing in there so far, but it's a smoky brown sugar chicken kale salad. And you know I love my kale salads. But you can buy all the ingredients. The recipe is online. We've linked to it in the description. So you can buy all the things and make it yourself. They sent pre-chopped kale. So something I typically do is I'll buy full kale and then just chop it up because I don't like to have the big stems in there. So when you buy it pre-chopped, you have the stems in there. Meh. So I would say take out stems liberally. If you see them, pull out any big stems. And the description, like recipe card, does say to do that too. But Travis actually liked it more because the kale was more finely cut than I typically cut it.
Yeah.
So that was a tip, like cut the kale more like shredded lettuce versus big leaf.
Yeah, I could see that.
Yeah.
And then you're going to get a little bit more like surface area maybe where it kind of just like blends in with the rest and the dressing.
I guess if you're not as
nicely.
obsessed with kale as I am, thinly chopping it.
And massaging it.
And massaging it was also
Always.
in the recipe description. But it was just really great. It had a honey mustard Dijon dressing, dried cranberries, the chicken, and some sunflower seeds and carrots. It was just delightful.
Yeah.
And then the rest of the week that was not definitely last week or the week before was a free-for-all, really. I made a lot of yogurt bowls for lunch.
Yeah.
So
It's got protein.
yeah, I do raspberries. So frozen raspberries. It's not going to look good, but it's going to taste good. So trust me. Frozen raspberries, I'll do like half a cup of frozen raspberries, put them in the microwave for a minute so they're not frozen. And a tablespoon of honey and a serving of Greek yogurt, which is I think 2/3 of a cup. Mix it all together. Again, it doesn't look good, but it tastes delicious and it's high protein. So that has been a go-to for me. You could also add granola to that too if you wanted a little crunch.
I've been adding hemp hearts to my yogurt, and that has a little bit of like protein addition and some crunch.
Yeah. And then charcuterie. I got some charcuterie.
Classic.
Costco.
You don't even need a recipe for this. You know what to do.
What I have done is when I was at Costco, they had a big loaf of this rosemary Asiago bread.
Yeah, they did.
Still warm.
Oh,
I know. And I got it, cut it in half, froze the first half.
yeah, you did.
And then
Classic move. It's an extremely frugal move.
Yeah. And then what I've been doing is just cutting off a little bit of that bread putting some either like salami or pepperoni, whatever's in my charcuterie pack that I bought pre-made, putting some of that on top and munching on it.
Yeah.
That's it. So not even a full sandwich, just like kind of like an open-faced sandwich.
Yum.
And I've been doing that every day.
Every day
Since I bought it.
I love ingredient overlap. It's so great. And
Yeah.
if you can handle having the same thing every day, why not? I am getting
When
so
it's
hungry.
that good, you can.
It just sounds so good.
Yeah.
All right. We're not done with food yet. Are you salivating?
Yes.
Okay. Here's I actually feel like I crushed it a little bit this week. Just,
That's good. We
not
need
gonna
that.
lie.
We need that.
Okay. But it was easy. So burgers and coleslaw was one meal. I love a burger.
Mm-hmm.
I say, this is sidebar, that if I ever were to have to participate in a talent show, because I really don't have any talents, it would be me standing up on stage eating a burger because I eat them so fast. Like,
Speed eating.
Speed eating.
Is the talent.
That would be the talent.
I was like, everybody eats.
Specifically of a burger. I eat nothing. I mean, I am a quick eater. I blame public school. But I eat burgers so fast. It grosses Eric out. He's like, I cannot watch you eat a burger. But it's just gone.
Oh, wow.
So love a burger. Okay. No recipe for the burger because I don't do any of the extra stuff. No frills here. It is ground beef, salt and pepper. That's it. You can stretch it, right? You can do the panko crumbs, the bread crumbs, the Worcestershire sauce, the whatever, onions, almost making it a meatloaf. I don't bother with that though.
It's not a meatloaf, it's a burger.
That bad boy. I do cook it stovetop in butter. I realize it's not necessary. The meat has its own fat, but it is what I do and it tastes so good. So that's what we did.
I got a big 7-pound thing of ground beef.
Okay.
And I split it into 1-pound increments, put it in the freezer.
Yeah, you did. Right next to that rosemary bread.
Uh-huh.
Wow.
So maybe I'll make some burgers.
Yeah. So what I did link the recipe to is this purple cabbage coleslaw, which I had left over from the mahi bowls. You can tell we kind of record these out of order. So if you were to go back to 2 episodes ago, these are the meals that I made with my leftovers from that week. So there was half of a cabbage left over. So I'm like, what do I do with this? Make some coleslaw. This was a really great coleslaw. It has shredded carrots, jalapeno, a little bit of mayo. You know, I also love my mayo.
You do love mayo.
Apple cider vinegar. It was real great. So that was that meal. And now my tablet's broken because I'm too frugal and I'm not buying the new one.
Okay.
This one's so old. Okay, okay. What's my next meal that I made? Okay, fried rice. I've talked about this before, but it is worth repeating because this fried rice is it's so good.
I haven't done fried rice in a long time. I'm going to have to.
So I also had rice left over from those same mahi bowls that I made. And again, I will refresh your memories on this fried rice recipe. I use a frozen veggie mix. So you don't have to do that whole slicing and dicing, chopping and shredding with fresh veggies. Get just a bag of a veggie mix, heat that up to whatever the packaging instructions are, then keep going with the rest of the recipe, where then you're adding in your pre-cooked rice, the soy sauce, the garlic, and then at the very end, a little drizzle of sesame oil. I eat it with sriracha too. Okay.
I've kind of fixed it.
I know, it's doing this weird thing. And then shake and bake chicken drumsticks. So it's like fried chicken, only a whole lot easier, a whole lot less messy, a whole lot more hands-off.
And more shaking.
A whole lot more shaking.
A whole lot more shaking.
No one's complaining about that.
Yeah, my biggest complaint with fried chicken, not enough shaking.
Not enough shaking. This, you can get an exercise and cooking done.
Mm-hmm.
It's a 2-for-1. So it's just a quick little recipe of flour and some herbs that you're going to put into a bag, or honestly, you could use a bowl. And then whatever kind of chicken, these are chicken drumsticks. I do think bone in would be best. You could probably do them with wings, whatever chicken you got. Shake it up
if you got it.
in that. And then you're putting it on a pan with butter on the bottom. Oh, that's the secret. And then it's in the oven for about 50 minutes total. You're flipping them halfway through, but like, that's it. Then I ate that with, you guessed it, some of the leftover coleslaw. And I had made potatoes with the burgers this past week too. So leftover, like homemade fries, leftover coleslaw. And then another tip from Linda.
Saint Linda.
Saint Linda. She always gets a mention in these food portions of our episodes. She gave me this hot tip to put that, if you have leftover of that seasoning mix, the flour and the spices, don't throw it away. Put it in a bag, put it in the freezer. Okay. Now it's not going to go bad, even though it touched raw chicken. It's fine in the freezer. You've got that pre-mix ready for the next time you want to just defrost some chicken, into the oven, done. Easy meal, done.
Do you have to defrost the shake?
No, because it's just flour. It's not congealed or anything.
Wow.
Just pull it out, back in the freezer. This was a
good shake.
Super fast dinner for me.
I love that.
Yeah.
All right.
You're welcome.
Thank you, Saint Linda. All right.
Listener question.
This one, how can I pay off my debt as quickly as possible if I can't increase my income? Wow. If I had a dime for every time I got this question, I would have been able to pay off my debt faster than 23 months. Okay. First, not knowing anything about your income. This is always like a practical exercise, especially when we get this question in particular. First, examine why you think you can't increase your income. Maybe you can't, but decide that after you do this exercise.
Mm-hmm.
So it's reframing anything with an I can't into a question. So I can't save money. How can I save money? Even if it's just a little. I can't start a side hustle. How can I find a way to make extra money? So basically adding a how to anything that's I can't.
Mm-hmm.
And we're not thinking big here. We're thinking small incremental options. So we just want to get all the options out on the table.
I will say I even struggle with the even concept of extreme frugality. It is not exactly it's not what you and I practice. However, there are times that we need to be finding some of these ways to increase our income or decrease our expenses. And even if we just want new ideas, it can be helpful to look towards the extremes and how to do that. And so
that would be the second.
Yeah.
First, let's look at our income. Second, if you've looked at it and it is still a no, or maybe you are able to increase it, but you still want more methods to pay it off faster, we can look to extreme frugality for a period of time.
But I know that this can feel sometimes a little bit overwhelming when we are in those positions where we are needing to look to extreme frugality, and to hear people say do a side hustle, ask yourself how you can save money. But there is so much of a mindset that can correlate to just feeling so beat down by our financial circumstances that it's worth the exercise. You may come upon, no, none of these things are possible for me. So, all right, we're going to get to step 2 eventually. But when it comes to allowing our brains to just brainstorm some ways that we might be able to earn more, here's just some quick ideas. And recognize that none of this has to be for forever. None of the side hustles that you and I have had have lasted for forever. It's something we do for a time, for a specific goal. So if you're in that situation, consider selling things online, doing gig work like Uber or DoorDash or Uber Eats or TaskRabbit, where you can kind of do any types of jobs, maybe even remote work for people for a set amount of money.
There's one called Lug, I think, Lugg, and you're just transporting things. I think that's kind of similar to a TaskRabbit.
Taking on freelance jobs, definitely cash in on some of your unused items. So that's the kind of selling things, but whether that's clothes or electronics, furniture you no longer need. We recently did a secondhand challenge in our monthly money challenge membership, where we talk about not just buying secondhand, but where you can sell things secondhand. I learned so much about all the different niche places. There are spots where you can sell used sporting equipment or of course, your clothing, specific places for electronics, tools. So don't just think clothes and household items. Really anything that you no longer want, there can be a specific place. Music equipment, places like reverb.com, you can sell your music equipment on. So especially those niche places, you might even be able to get more amounts of money because it's people who know what they're looking for versus trying to sell a guitar on Facebook Marketplace might not get you as much as the people who know what they're looking at on a specific music website.
Yeah. So if we want to pay off our debt as quickly as possible, increasing our income or at least opening our minds to be aware of opportunities to make more money, clutch. But we also want to be living on as little as possible. And so this is where we can practice extreme frugality. And I'll say it with this caveat, you would not want to do this for more than 2 years. And I think even that is a stretch. My husband and I paid off $78,000 of debt in 2 years, and I was miserable during that time. Not 100% of the time, but it was really hard. Doable, but hard. And I'm glad we didn't do it for longer than 2 years. That would have, I think, really done more harm than good. I don't want to say more harm than good, but...
And it depends on how extreme you're going, because sometimes we only want to visit this degree of extreme for like 30 days, like the no spend challenges that we do. But yeah, if you've got a real specific goal in mind, then here's what we're going to say: for a short period of time, cut your expenses to the bone. Remembering that it's only temporary, but looking for ways that you can reduce what you're spending day to day, week to week, as much as possible. So this is going to include things like eliminating unnecessary subscriptions, whether that's entertainment subscriptions, gym subscriptions, clothing, whatever you are subscribed to, don't.
Again,
stop
to the bone. Even if you
Mhm.
enjoy it, that extreme frugality would mean eliminating all unnecessary subscriptions.
It doesn't mean, though, that we don't have ways to entertain ourselves. So finding the free alternatives to these things, like utilizing YouTube for exercise. That is what I do, not necessarily to be extreme, but I don't love the platitudes of somebody at a gym telling me like, good job, keep going. Or like public exercise. I don't like people staring at me.
They
Utilizing.
don't stare at you.
Well, it feels like they are, because
You would be surprised how many people are not looking at you.
Yeah.
All of them.
Yeah. Well,
Oh, but I'm not convincing you to
sometimes
get it.
it depends on if you're taking a class. Like people are, there are instructors walking around
Okay.
correcting your form, which that is good. Anyways, moving on.
Sorry.
You could do ad-supported streaming. You could do library rentals. And remember, the library is not just for books. The library, you can rent out games, movies, electronics, museum passes, sometimes even like items. I think that there's a library by the beach here that has a metal detector you can rent. So things like that, whether, binoculars or a telescope, sometimes there are tangible items you can rent from the library.
So it would also mean negotiating your bills. So you're calling every single one of your bill providers, cell phone, internet, and trying to negotiate down auto insurance, home insurance if you can. So you're using time that would have been spent doing a side hustle. And if you cannot do one of those, then you are negotiating your bills. You are going to spend time, whether you're spending time making money or lowering your bills. Cutting grocery costs. So we're buying in bulk. If you have a large family, we're opting for store brands, we're meal planning, and we are sticking to the staples. We are doing the rice, the dry beans, the eggs, which are still typically cheaper than meat. We're doing the frozen veggies. We're not doing anything brand named or like prepackaged. We can do some pre-cut up veggies, but we're sticking to frozen for those. This is where we really are. If you're going extreme, you're going extremely simple on your meal plan and your grocery shopping. We are not indulging.
Mm-hmm. And then you're going to want to use cash or prepaid cards. So withdrawing from your like the budgeted amount in cash that week to be spending on these things. So many of us have heard of the cash envelope system, or if you're not comfortable carrying cash around, you could put it on a prepaid card.
Which I like gift cards for specific stores because then you cannot deviate where they're from. It also doesn't cost you like an extra $5 for the card. So if you put it on the gift card, then it has to go to that store.
Yeah. And if you're only walking in with a set amount of cash, you don't have the opportunity to spend more than that. So you're putting your own boundaries around it. And then embracing the free entertainment, whether that's going to parks or free concerts in your area, doing some hobbies that you can enjoy with things that you already have on hand or you can find through buy nothing groups, do meetups with people. I've mentioned this before, but I'll say it again. There are even opportunities to be on the mailing list for venues in your area. And you might be able to learn about some free tickets that they might be giving out if they haven't sold all of their tickets. That often happens for Eric and I with local comedy shows.
And then you're also going to want to focus on delayed gratification. This is something that we in Frugality try to embrace our instant gratification, the bias that our minds have towards that, but try to do it in healthy ways. If you're going for an extreme frugality lifestyle, then delaying gratification is going to be your focus. So asking, do I truly need this or can I live without this? So not do I love it, do I truly value it, do I truly want it, but do I truly need this or can I live without it? We're really focusing on needs in the extreme frugality season.
Another way to practice extreme frugality within a set short amount of time is to maximize every dollar. So this is going to include shopping secondhand, that we are pretty much never buying new. And actually, I love this as a practice or at least a challenge. Not to say I never buy new things now, even in my non-practicing of being extreme in this way. It is a good thing to always question, can I get this for free, for a deal, for secondhand? So looking at thrift stores, Facebook Marketplace, local swaps, or arranging swaps with your friends. I love this for clothing, that you can get affordable options for whatever clothing or furniture or household needs that you might have.
Yeah, and then we're going to DIY what we can. So there's a lot more DIYing in extreme frugality. Again, extreme frugality sacrifices a lot more time. And then repairing, we love repairing, whether you're going extreme or not, really focusing on what does it cost to repair versus replace. Using the library for things you do have to buy new, coupons, cashback apps, you're going to spend a lot more time in the cashback apps and looking for coupons. ChatGPT can be a great resource to find out when are the coupon double days near me, what stores are they at, and where can I find the coupons for them. And then if you are in the right income bracket, you can take advantage of assistance programs. But if you have resources available to you, then you can utilize them, like local food banks. They don't always have an income verification process. So if this is a short season where you need to be extremely frugal, that could be an option. It's definitely a last resort option, in our opinion.
And of course, the best way, if you really need to be tightening up how you're spending, if finding extra income is just not working for you in the season, still keep a pulse on that because things can shift, life seasons shift. So always looking for those opportunities. But if just tightening up and being aware of your spending, where every dollar is going, then tracking that regularly is going to be one of the best methods here. So utilizing a strict budgeting method like the Kakebo method or the cash envelope system that I already mentioned. So depending on where you're at, this is something to consider. And if you want more information on a budgeting method like the Kakebo method, check out this video.